All right, guys, we're here with Marcus Clayton, an independent marketing consultant focused on all things marketing for home service businesses, SEO, Google ads, local service ads, website designs. He is in the weeds on all of this and really excited to dive into the specifics with him around best practices for all parts of the home services marketing funnel, all the way from initial lead gen down to conversion through to retention. So, Marcus, really excited to have you on today. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Excited to chat.
Yeah, man. Likewise, excited to dive into this. So, to kick things off, why don't you give the audience a little background on yourself and the business that you run?
Yeah, so I've been doing digital marketing for about 12 years. Out of college, I went to go work for free at a local SEO company that worked with all sorts of small businesses, everything from chiropractors to medical spas to junk removal companies and moving companies. And I worked there for about 3 years, and then left and went out on my own and tried the whole freelancing thing. Um, and I've been doing that for about 9 years. I, I I worked with all sorts of businesses doing all kinds of marketing, SEO, Facebook ads, Google ads, building websites, um, and inbound marketing and all sorts of things like that. And then I've always worked with home service businesses, and they've always been my favorite business to work for. And I always knew that focus was the answer, but got there about 2 years ago and decided to just focus entirely on working with home service businesses and really enjoying it. So I've got like an electrician, a plumber, a junk removal company that I work with, landscaper, tree removal business, and a variety of other businesses in the home service space.
The marketing tactics that are so productive for home services are so productive for other industries as well. SEO works for so many different industries. Google ads, local service ads are a little more specific to home services, but website design, branding, all of those things are so important for any type of business. What is it about home services that you love to work with?
Part of it is the fact that, or if you were to like come and hang out with me and all my high school friends, you'd realize that I'm the only idiot that works on a computer. They all work as mechanics and exterior, like siding installers, and uh, like they're all working in the companies that I'm like consulting for. So, one, I guess I just like understand these businesses, and like I've got along with the owners of these businesses really well. Um, but yeah, these tactics work fantastically, especially because like for services that have like relatively high tickets, like gutter installation or electrical services or anything like that. It's quite easy to like justify the return on investment that you get for the investment in Google Ads and the stack of costs involved in doing this work. So that makes it kind of easier rather than working with a chiropractor who's signs on somebody for an appointment that's worth $150. So yeah, I don't know. That's how I'd summarize it. I just really enjoy working with these businesses.
Definitely. And I've had a similar experience after working in tech for about 10 years and now working on the Workbench and working on my SaaS tool desk. I get to talk to home service owner operators every day, and they're just really, they're good people. They're business owners, they're smart, they're hardworking, and I found, generally speaking, they're awesome to work with. So I know that you focus, Marcus, on sort of the full marketing funnel, and we've had experts on from SEO, from things like getting reviews, from building the website. I know you focus on that full funnel, so I want to dive into your best practices there, and then definitely want to hear more about some of your best practices for building cleaning websites and some of the success stories you've had with driving up conversions for cleaning companies specifically. To start things off at a high level, can you walk us through the ideal marketing funnel for a home services company from the very first, no one knows about my business, I need to get in front of leads, down to cool, I booked this job and they're paying me?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about the marketing funnel, there's different frameworks that you can look at. There's the HubSpot like inbound marketing funnel, the RACE formula you can look up, RACE. RACE stands for reach, act, convert, and engage. Ultimately, it's just the like the sales pipeline, the marketing pipeline, the sales pipeline is sort of the step below. But just thinking, and the way that we think about it as marketing strategists is how could we optimize every stage of that funnel? So it starts at the like awareness and acquisition level. So it's like, how are you getting in front of people? That could be like a radio advertisement, which can work well for local businesses. Probably all like thought of examples from growing up listening to the radio and still remembering jingles from like home service companies. And that could be a Google ad, that could be LSA, that could be a Facebook ad, that could be any way that you're like initially reaching somebody who's either potentially looking for your service or potentially needs your service, and you're just grabbing their attention. The step after that is you get them to act in some way. Typically, that's coming to your website on LSA. That may be clicking your LSA profile. On Facebook, that may be clicking your Facebook ad. And that's your opportunity where you've got them engaged. They're looking to learn more, and your goal at that point is to convert them into a lead. So that's the next stage there. You convert people on LSA by getting them to call. On your website by getting them to call, fill out a form, maybe download a coupon or something else like that. And then you bring them through the sales process, of course, and engage them through that, and hopefully convert them into a customer. So I think that just like stopping there, like getting small business owners to think about like that whole funnel. And when I consult with businesses, I sort of map out the metrics in that funnel. So how much traffic are we acquiring? How much, how many people are seeing and clicking on our Google ads? We have metrics at each one of those stages. And if you want to increase your customers, let's say you work with 50 customers right now and you want to work with 75, you can start to do the math at like, okay, maybe I dial up my traffic by 20%. And then I figure out how to improve my lead gen by like 10%. And I look at how I can improve my my close rate or my conversion rate by like 20%. So you don't need to like, I feel like people tend to just focus on like one area. But it becomes a lot easier when you can just think about ways that you can optimize every stage of the funnel in some way. Maybe that's adding a new channel that you haven't tried out yet. Typically you can do a lot to optimize existing channels. So yeah, that's a good just like high level framework of the way that like any marketing consultant is going to be thinking about the full funnel approach.
Yeah. Do you use Reach with your clients? Is that the framework you use personally?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess I just generalize it to a marketing funnel, but like I would use like you mean the race formula? Is that what you're talking about?
Sorry, race, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that ultimately yes, but it's really just simple. It's like how many people are we like, typically it's like Google ads. So how many people are like seeing our ads and clicking on our ads? Our rankings are a metric there. So it's like typically like awareness metrics, website engagement metrics, and then conversion metrics. So which fits generally within that framework. Yes. I would encourage people to go and look up the race formula. It's put out and published by a company called Smart Insights, which is like a marketing information company, and just like read a little bit more about it to better understand that framework.
Great. Can you walk through the tools that home service owner operators should be thinking about at each step of the race framework?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, starting at the top, how are you reaching people? These are going to be obvious to most people, but ultimately Google ads, local service ads, search engine optimization as a channel, other platforms that are relevant that people go to look for home services, whether it's Angie's, and I don't spend a ton of time on these because there's a lot of competition and it's very competitive and it's very expensive. So I focus on sort of the Google side of things, but whether it's Angie's, Yelp, those are all places where your potential customers are congregating. So it's like especially the business that's like just starting out, like those places make sense. Facebook and Instagram, somewhat as well. Facebook groups, people find great success in like community groups I know you've had some people on who talk about that strategy specifically, Nextdoor. So yeah, that's a pretty good summary of like the main channels that I see people utilizing and that I utilize myself for my clients.
Okay. And so from that channel, let's walk through the customer journey. Let's say we're doing Google ads, we're doing local service ads. I'm a plumber, I'm an HVAC owner. What should I be asking the person seeing that advertisement or seeing that communication from my business to do? What's that act step for in the race format? Like, what's that kind of call to action you see successful?
Right. So, I mean, if you want to get somebody to like click on your ad, there's only so much you can do, right? Everybody offers a free estimate. You know, the key is really to like look at what other people are doing. You'll very quickly be able to come up with like what everybody's doing, which is like free estimate. Let's use a gutter business in Denver as a specific example. Gutter installation, gutter cleaning. Your ad's going to have all those relevant keywords. Google Ads platform is going to be able to recommend headlines for you. So think about how you can like, in order to like optimize that stage, how can I improve the click-through rate against my competitors? What can you do? Maybe it's like offer a spring cleaning offer for $50 off gutter cleaning. Maybe that stands out against what's there for customers. So some kind of like offer, thinking, along the more simplified lines of like Alex Hermosi's like $100 million offer framework. I recommend everybody's read that book, but like I always recommend it to my clients who have yet to read it, to just get them in the mind of thinking about how you can, instead of just saying, reach out for gutter cleaning, how can you make that more enticing? And that's typically a discount, a spring cleaning discount, or like the obvious easy ones. Maybe it's some kind of package or something like that. And yeah, so those are some ways that you can try to stand out, and give people a reason to contact you.
Got it. And then just working loosely through that framework. Let's say we get that estimate, we get that quote. Someone wants the quote. We kind of get their information from one of these top of funnel lead sources. What are your best practices for then converting that person from like, I'm interested in the estimate, to a paying customer?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like one step before that, like let's look at the website. You're sending that like look at the way that most websites look like. Again, using like a gutter cleaning business as an example, like most people are going to have a request estimate form, and that's it, or maybe a jobber booking, like embedded request booking form for a cleaning business, and maybe the booking koala, really well designed booking koala form. Give people, typically that's like a lot of information, and people have to be at the very bottom of the funnel. If you think about 100 random people on your website, most of those people are just looking for information, at the top of the funnel. Some people are like, looking at pricing, they're further down the decision-making process. This funnel sort of coordinates with like the buyer's decision-making process. Like we all go through a process where they're like, okay, I should probably get my gutters cleaned, but you do like one Google search on your phone, and then you get busy with like your life, and maybe you get one question answered. So most websites are just set up to acquire the people who are like ready to buy and talk to a salesperson now. Like think about the mindset that it takes for somebody to request a free estimate. They know they're going to get a call back. They know that they're going to have to take time out of their day to like deal with this like request. They're at a very specific stage in the funnel. So I guess like just like I'll reiterate, which is I guess what I was just talking about before, but is like give people more opportunities to like reach out who aren't at that bottom 5%, but maybe are at that 5%, that next 5% up, which could be just like a lead form with fewer questions, or some people would use like a newsletter subscription, but that doesn't really work well in the home service space. Typically a coupon download with like just name, email address, so you can acquire their email address. So think about ways that you can capture people's information without getting them into a sales process. So you could then capture more leads and then potentially market to them and close them. So that first. And then when it comes to closing somebody from like lead to sale, I mean, I've been getting more and more involved in that with my clients, because I've realized it's such a problem. Is like I'll send my clients 50 leads, and then we'll do the revenue report at the end of the month. And I'm like, why is revenue not increasing at a corresponding rate to our lead gen? So this is where tools like tool desk come in, and tools like High Level are popular to use. So this is I mean, you've clearly identified this problem in creating tool desk, but whether you're using House Call Pro, that's probably a little bit better than the others, but Jobber, Booking Koala, or whatever your focused CRM is for your home service business. I've got access to all of these. I've got like deeper and deeper into like understanding these tools for my clients. And what I realized, I had this like wake up call when I focused in on home services like a year and a half ago. I'm like, okay, these are great, fantastic, amazing tools for their customer management systems. And they all have some functionality for lead management, but that typically is like tagging somebody as a lead. Anybody who has worked in a sales organization or worked in a company that has a sales organization understands there's like a stack of software tools and processes to deal with leads. And these tools, they're sold as all-in-one tools, and they really are, but only from the point that you have basically like a hot lead that's ready for an estimate. So the biggest thing that you can do is figure out how, like, so many people will, as you know, so many people will get a phone call. A lead will come in through LSA, a lead will come in through a website call, and you'll take that call. You'll answer some questions. Maybe they're like, okay, I got to talk to my wife. And you're like, okay, just give us a call back. And that lead information is not captured anywhere. You have no follow-up plan for that. And that should be your number one focus. When you're thinking about how can I optimize every stage in the funnel in order to achieve a growth goal, the lowest hanging fruit is your close rate. Likely, if you were to really add up all the leads that you get, all the phone calls, all the web form submissions, if you have text messaging enabled, all your text messages, you're probably closing like 10 to 30% of your leads. 30 would be pretty great for an average home service business. I'm kind of pulling these numbers out of my ass, but I think that's like a rough range. So if you could go from closing 10% to 20%, you don't have to affect any of your other numbers. And the easiest way to do that is by creating follow-up email sequences. I mean, the hand-to-hand combat way of doing it is throwing together a spreadsheet or like a Trello board or something that tracks follow-ups, making sure you get them in a follow-up system, and then texting them back on like a regular occasion or emailing them or whatever. But ideally, like, it's a combination of like manual effort in some cases, but like having a fallback of an automated system where you can tag somebody as like gutter cleaning the lead, and they'll get a sequence of emails over the next like 2 weeks. So I've been looking more and more into your tool, and I mean, that would be the solution for that stage.
I did not ask Marcus to plug Tool Desk for the audience. But yeah, no, absolutely. I think that lead, I have a background in sales, and that follow-up is where the money's made, and typically some people respond after the first email, but really it's going to be 3 to 5 emails, a couple calls to really stay top of mind for folks. So I think that's a super important call out. Okay, you'd mentioned that part of the conversion, a very important part of the conversion process, is the website. We had Alex Lathery on. He builds
Alex is great.
Awesome. Builds optimized websites for home services companies. And I know you've done some things there as well with a Booking Koala template, I believe. So I'd love to hear more about your website process, and if you maybe even have a website you could show us and explain like what makes a super high converting landing page for home services, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I build websites for my clients through partners. Sometimes if it's a small client, I need to hack something together. I'll hack together. In the past, I don't do this anymore. I'd hack together I take a Webflow template and adapt it for a business. Excuse me. But typically I work with partners now to develop that, because it's such an important thing. It's typically the first thing I do when I start working with a new client is be like, all right, you need a new website, because in one fell swoop, we can, add a location page template for SEO. We can improve the lead form and like lead flow on your website to improve conversion rates. And we can showcase your reviews better, add more social proof, make it more mobile friendly. All these things that are just going to, like, when thinking about all the things that you can do to affect growth, we're just hitting so many things at once if it's done right. So also I started to get on Twitter, which is obviously where we met, about a year and a half ago, and started offering these free SEO consults. I initially thought it was going to be like a sales tool, but then I quickly realized that like the people who are reaching out often like just weren't at the stage for my agency services. I charge like a decent monthly retainer, and a lot of them just weren't at that stage. So I've probably talked with like, I don't know, 60 to 80 people in the last like year and a half doing these 1 hour free consults. I have a bunch of expensive SEO software and competitive analysis tools that I have access to. So I just spent an hour running reports, doing a screen share, and walking people through basically 5 recommendations on what they could do to improve their site. Half of these businesses were cleaning businesses because there's huge cleaning business community on Twitter. And one of the consistent pieces of advice that I would always give is you've got to improve your website. I understand that a bespoke website is like $3,000 to $5,000, but like when you have the funds to invest in that, it'll be like one of the best investments that you can make. Most people didn't get around to building them. Most people had the standard booking koala template website, which is very limited in its capacity. It's like totally fine to get started. Like don't let this like stop you if you're starting a cleaning business. Like go, don't let things stop you. Go and use it to get started. But what I was thinking of is there's this like gap in the market. There's like bespoke, there's like DIY, somebody building a booking koala website, maybe Wix or something like that, maybe hacking together a WordPress website on themselves, but like on their own, but without an understanding of like best practices, and then paying for a bespoke website that's like $3,000 to $5,000, could be a lot more than that. So identify this like sort of opportunity in the market in the middle where I'm like, if we could offer something for like $1,200, $1,500, that's just a template and only built for a specific business, cleaning businesses, then we could like, make it useful, make it worthwhile enough for us in the back end, and make it a really good website that's probably as good as a bespoke website because we've just been so focused. So yeah, and we've been doing this for the last 3 weeks. This has all been people through Twitter. So we created the template for a friend of mine's business in Victoria, Canada. And then we built the first website paid for Max Taderno and his mom Jen, who are popular in the Twitter cleaning community. And then we've sold 8 in the last 2 weeks. So it's all based off the same template. And I'll just share my screen and I'll walk through basically, we're now halfway through these sites and we've improved the template significantly. We've really thought about how we can improve the conversion optimization, how we can improve like the SEO and stuff like that. And so let me show you this. So, all right, so this is the template. And just to like show you like how much this looks like the same. So this is, just make sure I'm showing the right thing. So this is Milton, another guy that's on Twitter, Bryan, company out of Boston. And then this company is based in Southern California. So there's a certain amount of change like behind the scenes. People have different services, obviously different like locations and stuff like that. But ultimately it's like, same template, update colors, update content, update logo, address, information like that. So this is one of the best things that we've come across. We came across like a competitor to one of the businesses we were building websites for, and they had this like homepage lead gen form. So like most people, again, have like a book now button that goes to the booking koala page. And that booking koala page, I mean, like, let's just look at it. So typically this is the main CTA that people have, is they'll send people to the book now page will link to here. You have to put in your postal code. You have to choose your type of cleaning. You have to read all this stuff. You have to figure out what's going on over here. You have to select bedrooms, bathrooms. You have to figure out what extras you want. And, your date, your customer details, your coupon code. How do I get a coupon code? Like that stops you. And then you have to enter your card information. And like the context is like, again, this is a beautifully designed booking form. I love it. I think everybody goes in and they go through this sort of like, learning process where it's like, this is amazing. I never have to talk to somebody on the phone. They're going to book right on my website. They'll choose a time in the calendar. It's all integrated. It'll be automatically sent to a cleaner. that's not then they wake up to reality and realize that most people aren't comfortable enough to go and book on the website, new customers specifically. Great for existing customers who don't set up recurring cleans and just want to do it occasionally. But for new customers, like, you don't have enough brand trust built. Like, you're just a local cleaning business. You just registered your company a year ago. You're not running radio ads. Somebody just got to your website because they clicked on a Google ad. Like, they're not ready to put in and give you their credit card information. This is a generalization, but in my experience, this converts at like sub 1% of traffic will convert using this form. So we're like, how do we solve this problem? Because people love this form and it is so useful in so many ways. So what we did is we created this lead form that's only 5 fields, where it's like, an offer to get a price. So I can put in my information, put in my email. We've got like an action-oriented what to expect, CTA on the button. We've got reviews, right below to add some social proof right here. And then we click price, and then we're redirected to this form. And oh, you know what? This is actually like a bug that we're working on, but it pre-fills the email address, the phone number, the name information, all in here. And what we're working on is we're going to add like a little note up here that says, hey, thanks for your lead. We'll give you a call within 24 hours. However, if you'd like, you can use the form below to get an exact estimate for your cleaning, and even book it if you'd like. But what we've done now is we've captured the lead. What we find is that about 5, and you can increase this, 5+% of people will fill out that lead form. Again, I'm kind of pulling numbers out of my ass, but this is just to like sort of show the difference. About 5% of people may fill out that lead form, and only about 1% of people may fill out this. So like, you could like 5x your leads. And of course, like, if somebody fills out this form, they're ready to pay, they're ready to go. It's a higher quality lead. It's almost like a customer at this point. But do you think that like your close rate's only going to be 20? Your close rate only needs to be 20% if you're acquiring 5 more leads, and at least you've grabbed their email address. Maybe you could put them into a remarketing funnel and send them text messages, once every 6 months if they don't close. You've at least captured their information before they leave your website and go somewhere else. So yeah, that was like sort of, one of the biggest aha moments we had as we were building this. And then I'll just show you an example of a way that we're trying to capture more people, again, that like next stage above people who are ready to like request a price. So we've got this like save $30 on your first clean. We set this up nicely. So like, once May hits tomorrow, this is automatically going to update to May. This is calculating the number of days left in the months, just so it like makes it easier for the business owner to keep updated. When you click this, you go to a landing page that's got specific language, get $30 off your first clean. So this is just sort of an example of like a different way to position your offer instead of just request a quote. So yeah, those are like a few of the like bigger things that we've implemented that we've seen have like a really nice effect on conversion rates. Yeah, so there's other things you can do, but yeah, those are working well for us with this template.
So the takeaway after viewing that is that sometimes having a more simple lead form where you just get the bare bones information, and then the business owner can use that information to follow up on other channels like email, phone, text, can be more effective for conversions than asking the lead up front to fill out a whole bunch of information.
Yeah. You think logically about a lot of these things, you're like, yeah, makes sense. I only have to fill out 5 fields versus 17 fields. It's probably going to have a higher success rate. Again, probably lower quality, but like higher success rate. Like my goal as a marketing consultant, like it's ultimately revenue. But as I go up the funnel and think about like what is the most important metric or thing I'm acquiring at each level of the funnel, ultimately it's revenue. But the next level up is like, if we can get 200 leads instead of 50 leads, like that's probably going to be a good sign for revenue, because we can be creative with the ways that we utilize that customer data. It's amazing. Again, just like think the fact that like if you look at your analytics, and most people don't have analytics set up correctly on their website, but for the average website, 95 to 99% of people come to your website, look around, and leave, and you have no way to contact them, which is crazy. So what you should obsess over is how can I capture 1 more percent of those people? Like, what do I have to do and get in front of that person so I can get an email address or a phone number? Like, that's it. At least I can call them. At least I can call them 6 months from now. Like, I can go through my database if I'm slow and I want to send out an email that's like, hey, we've got some openings over the next week. Here's a $50 discount if you're interested in a clean. So yeah, that's the big, that's definitely the takeaway. It's just a shorter lead form, and then being creative with what you're offering people in order to acquire that lead.
Really solid best practice there. You obviously work with a lot of different, and thank you for sharing this, Marcus. You obviously work with a lot of different businesses and different types of businesses. What are the 1 to 3 things that you so commonly see home service business owners doing wrong during the marketing process that's really hindering their business?
That's definitely number one. Again, I would start. It'll just sort of be a summary of things, but start at the bottom of the funnel. Assuming you've got any lead flow coming in, people are going into the top of that. They're moving through. You're just trying to maximize people coming out the bottom and revenue coming out the bottom of that funnel. So it's starting at the bottom. It's you're the business owners. I use call recording software to record my clients' calls in order for conversion tracking purposes and training. And sometimes I'll start working with a new business. They'll pick up the phone and they'll be like, hello. And I'll be listening to this recording. And I'm like, hello? Who that owns a business answers the phone, hello? And most people got this covered, but it's amazing how many people that don't. We've all experienced it as consumers. Biggest thing is just start at the bottom of the funnel and go up. Phone etiquette, improve your phone etiquette, figure out a process. It doesn't need to be difficult. It could be a 3-page training document and for your team, and just find a way to improve that yourself. And then making sure that you're actually following up with people who are contacting you. It's amazing. There's again, you don't close everybody that reaches out to you. Find a way to follow up with those people, whether you put together a spreadsheet, like I said, and follow up with them every 1, 2, 3 months. Use some automation software like the Tool Desk or High Level, or some other follow-up system like that. Is don't forget about these leads you have. They're there. And also don't forget about your existing customers. If you're not a recurring cleaning business that the main goal is to sign up people for recurring customers. But if you're an electrician, it's go send an email to the people who you worked with 6 months ago and just say, hey, just reaching out, making sure everything's good. Make it super personal. Make it from the service provider that actually went out and provided the service. So it's that is the main thing is focusing on the bottom of the funnel and figuring out ways you can optimize that. And then you go one step above that, and we just talked about lead form optimization. That would be the next thing. It's obsess over that. Obsess over squeezing out every possible customer. You've already done all the work. You've paid for the Google ads. Typically for Google ads, if you do the math, it costs $50 to $300 to acquire a customer, depending on the service, depending on the market that you're in. Imagine you just have full insight into what it took for that. We're okay, this lead it took 20 clicks to get this one lead through my website. I picked up the phone. They were hey, I got to talk to my wife. And you hang up and you just leave it. You're flushing the $30 down, the $300 down the drain for the ad cost. If you're paying a consultant like me, the portion of the retainer that it cost you for that, the effort you put into the website, what are you doing? Go. So anyways, that's I guess my soapbox is just obsess over that. Put tracking in place so you're tracking the success rate. Again, a lot of people in the Twitter world, talk about these metrics and do a pretty good job about this. They know their LSA close rate. They think about ways to improve their phone close rate and stuff like that. But there's always room for improvement there. So just in order to figure out if you're if you're making progress, set up a system in place, make sure you're tracking the metrics, and then just track them like month over month and just see like, are they improving? Like, and just when you want to get creative, think about, okay, what can I do? Like, what can I do to try to improve these things even further? So anyways, yeah, just a summary of the stuff that we've talked about here, but that's definitely, just to double down, that's the focus.
It's easy to get lost in a sea of data and metrics. If I'm a home service business owner and I'm starting to pay more attention to marketing, I want to get smart with my marketing. What are 2 to 3 metrics I should really be paying attention to throughout the marketing funnel?
So you can do this total and then by channel. Channel being Google Ads, channel being Google Organic, Facebook Ads, whatever. Let's just assume it's all website traffic, right? So you can look at your source data and you can look at your channel report and you can see your search engine traffic organically, search engine traffic paid, whatever. So traffic, you can do this at the top level, overall website traffic. You can do this by channel, and look at that traffic specifically. Next down, you want to track some sort of like event on some sort of event on your website that tells you that people are like sticking around. Maybe you have a coupon page. I'm just about to set up a coupon page on one of my client sites. Like, it'd be views of key pages. It's not conversions, right? That's going to be what comes next. But what key metrics and engagement metrics on your website can you track? Like, I don't think time on site really matters that much. Like, generally, if you're doing all these things, like that stuff doesn't exactly correlate to, it's not a useful metric to track. But it would be like views of your pricing page if you have a pricing page. It'd be views of your quote page if you have a quote page. It would be views of your coupon page if you have a coupon page. Those may be some examples of like just like some important page on your website that indicates that this is higher quality traffic than everything else that came to the website. And so that would be the next one. Conversion rate, track form submissions, phone calls. If you're using a website chat tool like Go High Level or Talk or something else like that, chat form submissions, all those are the most important metrics to track. Is and then you compare those against your total traffic, and that gives you your website conversion rate, and that conversion rate is what you really want to focus your optimization efforts on for conversion rates. So those are the metrics, and you can and a note on that, call tracking is something that most businesses don't do. They'll use OpenPhone or something like that, and they'll have their OpenPhone number on their website. And call tracking is something I set up for every single business that I work with. There's a variety of tools out there. CallRail is probably the most popular standalone tool. Another tool is Call Tracking Metrics. Never used it, but it's a direct competitor to CallRail. And HouseCall Pro has this. So many tools. High Level has this integrated inside their like full system. And what this does is you buy a pool of forwarding numbers. They could be localized to your area code. You install a piece of JavaScript on your website, and you just install a piece of code on your website. It swaps out your actual phone number for one of these tracking numbers, and then it records all the data. So it records where that visitor came from. It records the call if you choose to do that. It records the duration of the call, all of these things. And then you can view that inside of CallRail. You can import that into Google Ads, Google Analytics, or whatever. So that would be like another key tip, is look into like a call tracking software and set that up on your website. You could typically get it for like $45 a month or something like that. And it's well worth it, especially if you have like, you can also record the calls. This is how I listen to all my clients' calls. You can record your calls if you have an admin person or somebody else answering the phones, and use it as training. So anyways, those are the metrics: traffic, important page engagement, and then what your actual conversions are: form submission, phone call, and website chat.
Got it. To wrap it up here, you have a new home service business starting. I'm starting Bryan's HVAC. I can have one top of funnel lead source. I can have one website builder built on some website builder. I can have one CRM, and I can have one, call tracking / follow-up system. What would you tell me to use as my stack for those kind of 4 to 5 key points in my marketing funnel to be successful?
So if you're starting brand new,
Bryan's HVAC, Santa Monica.
Bryan's HVAC. Your SEO is not going to be a thing. You're not going to get any business that way. First would be LSA. You don't need a website to run LSA. You just need insurance and all the things that people know you need for LSA. So start with LSA. That's where most people start. That's where you should start, and then use those profits to invest in the rest. And then into Google Ads, and then into SEO. If I were to give you the next two, that's that. And give me the next one that you
Website.
wanted.
How should I build my website? Squarespace.
So if you're gonna DIY it, you don't have a
I have a
budget.
little budget. I have a little budget. Nothing crazy, but I'm ready to invest.
If you have a little budget, you should go to cleaningwebsitetemplates.com. And if you've got $1,200 and use our template, because it'll solve a lot of your SEO problems and conversion optimization problems out of the box. And it's like the quality of a website you'd spend $3,000 on at least. So I'll shill for that one.
Okay. And then in terms of like a CRM and call tracking / follow-up software, what would you advise a new business to use?
For HVAC, Jobber. Go use Jobber. It's low cost, easy to use, super user friendly, and you can look at migrating to a more advanced system later.
Okay. And then any type of call tracking or follow-up software integrated with Jobber or any other system?
I mean, I think you know what one you want it to be. I think you know a guy. But to be honest, I was only just looking at your tool right before this call. Like, I've seen it, you talk about it, but the Jobber, I saw it just got put in the Jobber marketplace, and you can see some screenshots of it, which I can't see on your website. So I just took a look at that, and I mean, without test, I mean, I won't shill you because I've already shilled you. I'll say look into high level. It's very complicated. It's infinitely customizable and can do so much more than what you need for it. But look at a tool like that, or simple Google spreadsheet. Throw every lead into a Google spreadsheet, and then you've got all the contact information in one place, and you can do things as you wish later with them. Just make sure you're capturing them.
Okay, love it. Keeping it simple. Some Google LSA website, Jobber for the CRM, and then some type of follow-up tool for calls and emails and texts and all that stuff. So, all right, Marcus, we appreciate you coming on. A lot of great insights here. For folks listening or reading the newsletter, where can they connect with you on the website, Twitter, Instagram? Where are you at?
I'm most active on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter. It'll be linked wherever. It's Marcus M. Clayton. And feel free to DM me. I typically jump on a phone with 2 to 3 businesses a week just to give free advice, answer questions. Don't be afraid to reach out. Happy to help.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you, Marcus. Have a good rest of your week.
Great. Thanks, Bryan.